stuff, and then I want to play with it. So, yeah.
Oh, I am being
Oh,
told we are live now.
there we are. Yeah, live 7-8 seconds now. All right, all
Hello,
right.
everyone. Welcome to the Amusing Panda live stream. We are live on a special weekend edition, and we are joined by Peter from Sweden to get hype for the WTC this year. So, Peter, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about your history with the game and your history with the WTC.
All right. Happy to be here. Super excited, and yeah, I've been in this game now. This is my 10th year. I started in 2015.
Oh,
I
nice.
came from competitive 40K, and that sort of went AWOL and crazy bananas. So I left it. Like half of Sweden's 40K players, top players, left, and then I was thinking, where did they all go? And then turns out they went to War Machine. So I decided to give it a go. There's a small community in my town, so we gave it a go, and I loved it. And I remember looking at the cards, thinking, how the heck am I going to remember all the rules for every freaking model? They all have unique rules. It's not like
Right.
40K where you have like 40 models with the same stuff. This was all. How am I going to do this? Turns out it's very easy. It just requires the time. But I remember it was a blast. I remember my friend says it very well. My old mentor of painting, who is also coming to WTC, Jamal, he says it very well. He says, I have more fun losing in War Machine than winning in 40K. And that's what I realized. So I really got rid of all the 40K and went hardcore into War Machine in 2016, just with the release of Mark III. So I played like a year of Mark II. Of course, gators being my main force. I love the alligator so much, the whole voodoo thing. Thought it was so cool. Very sad to see them gone now. Hope they make a resurgence for Mark IV. But yeah, I've been in the War Machine hobby for 10 years, and then I've been in the War Games or Warhammer hobby, or how do you say, a miniature hobby, for about 20 years, 25 years.
Nice.
I started when I was 12, 13 there. I think 2000, 2001, third edition 40K, and 6th edition fantasy. That was my jam. So, and yeah, I'm been doing for War Machine since then. I'm a very competitive player as well. I do really enjoy the really, really brainy part of the game where you need to sit and think, and it's sort of. I also enjoy chess a lot,
Right.
and I really love this game in that sense that we can. Yeah, that you can just look at a game and just this expression where you go into the tank. I think that's
Right.
like the most beautiful thing in this game. And someone sitting there just watching the table for 10 minutes, doing nothing, and then all of a sudden they just do, and it works. The plan worked. They just needed to figure out the puzzle, and I love that. Love that so much. So yeah, I did it for a long time, and started organizing tournaments rather quickly because I'd organized the Swedish Masters events for 40K, so I was kind of a regular in tournament organizing.
You already had the background of experience and knew how the whole thing went together, just logistically and stuff.
Exactly, and we had a really good gaming club in my old town that we had like the space at our club because it was part of a huge culture house and such. So we already had that. So it was very natural, and I really enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed organizing tournaments. It's always nice also when you don't have a lot of people to play with. You organize a tournament so people come play with you.
Right. Yeah. Build it and they will come.
Exactly. So yeah, done that. I moved south to Sweden, southern parts of Sweden, back in 2021. Met my girlfriend and stuff here, so sort of built my life here. And it turns out there was no War Machine here, but there was a gaming store. And I joined their Discord for the local gaming club, who had a collaboration with the gaming store. And it turns out in their Discord, they had a War Machine channel. And I was thinking, wait, what was this? Turns out it hadn't been active since like Mark II. So I started right. And the funny thing is that my friend Mikael, he put out all his cricks for sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I messaged him and said, wait a minute, you're in the same part of Sweden I am. please don't sell, play with me.
Yeah. Let's actually put this stuff to use.
Yeah, and he was like, really? Is there a War Machine player here? Heck yes, I'll keep it. And then all of a sudden, there started popping up some more. It's like, oh, I haven't played in a while. And then we were like 4 or 5 people playing regularly after that. So that was awesome. That was in Mark III, so 2021.
Yeah.
And then my first WTC was in 2019.
Okay, nice.
And I think I was playing Grimkin. I was playing King of Nothing was my jam. And then, of course, that was the Clock of Trees madness.
Right, yeah.
And that was also the first year in the prep for WTC. In a local tournament in my hometown, I beat Olof with King of Nothing versus Sorsha 1. He was playing the Doom Reaver spam, and I was playing Clock of Tree spam. And I beat him for the first time ever. And that's a magical feeling, because beating Olaf is not something that happens. I mean, I've done it twice now, but that's twice in a decade.
Yeah, it's a rare distinction to pull a win off.
It's a rare thing. It rarely happens. So when I did, I realized, okay, I can probably play this at the WTC, because most people there are worse at this game than Olaf is. So I felt comfortable with that. I had my local buddy. He was also on the same team. So he was playing Mozart and I was playing King of Nothing. And then we were sort of sparring, a game a week for like 30 weeks for the WTC. And then we went. It was had an awesome time. It was a lovely time at the WTC. I met so many people. And first time, actually, I met Brandon Owens. He was a wonderful guy.
Yeah, he was my team captain.
Wait a minute. 2019. Yes. That was the year I met him. I was thinking, was it 2022? No, he was in, I don't know. No, I think it was 2019. It was before the pandemic. And because I remember him being there, and he and his girlfriend brought a bunch of vegan American protein bars. And there was like not a lot of vegan food, and I was a vegan. So it was like, oh, and they just said, oh, have one of these. And apparently protein bars in America are like full meal size. Like everything in America is huge.
Yeah, it's like a survival food. It's meant to keep you going for a while.
Exactly. So I would remember I was being really tired, like in the third game or something on the Saturday, and I was standing next to, he was like playing on the tables behind me. And I was like, Brandon, you don't happen to have any of those protein bars, do you? And he just popped one out. Let's share it, So yeah, he was awesome. And he was just one of them. And then I met all the other people that you heard about them, heard about them, listened to them on the podcast. So yeah, I really got to know some people in the community, which was great fun. So fast forward, and we're at the WTC 2022. I'm bringing my Southern Swedes with me. We are at least 2 of us in the same team, so that was awesome. And then when the question came up to organize WTC, I thought it would be really cool, because I've always been, ever since Bulldozer Terrain came out, I've been a huge advocate for 2.5D terrain. Right, yeah. Because I've always been very fan of the hobby aspect of this game, the painting, the modeling. I love it. And I always have. It's just that's the part of the hobby that's really therapeutic for me. So sitting at night, just painting for fun. I'm starting to forget what that's like now, but because now I just paint terrain. But just sitting at night painting something you really want to do, I think that's really therapeutic and nice. Yeah. And so. When the question came up, I thought, do I have the space? So I went to Ronneby. I worked there. So I worked next to the venue. And I know they have a huge conference venue. So I went there and asked, talked to them. I bought a measuring tape that was 50 meters long. And I measured every single room at the venue. And I just thought to myself, I think this can be done. And then I put my name in the hat and I got it. WTC has never been in Sweden, so it's kind of scary. I'm super nervous that something will go wrong, or if I've forgotten something, and it's a huge anxiety thing, like what if something goes wrong. But on the other hand, I think it's sort of just before you go on stage, something, you get this stage fright, and it feels sort of like that now. What if something is wrong? What if something is gone? What if something go, yeah. But what if I've forgotten like a whole team and they just arrive? It's like, yeah, well, there are no for us. But yeah, hopefully, most likely that's not going to happen. But it's just this feeling that what if? So yeah, but the first time in Sweden and the Germans. I mean, the Germans did a freaking super WTC. So to me, it's like I have the shoes to fill are huge, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the challenge last year was, and I think you'll testify to this as a vegan, I think the only hitches were related to food and getting, a meal in Germany where pork is not considered a vegetable.
Yeah, I remember talking because I ate the vegetarian food then, and I remember they were like I didn't get any food for some reason, and there was some mistake, and then I remember because I talked to Samir about it as well. It's like you guys have left some huge like shoes to fill.
Yeah,
and other than the vegetarian food, which was shit, all the other stuff was freaking flawless.
It was a really seamless event.
It was a really seamless event, and the live stream was amazing, and everything just and it was it was so German. It was super organized, and now you're getting like the crazy Swedish version of this, and as you realize the terrain pack is not released yet, that's a part of the not super German organizational thing. Hopefully that's released tomorrow, I hope. If I get all the terrain photographed as well. So
yeah. Well, that's one thing, because the WTC, and I'm sure you'll remember this from 19 and 22. There was, I guess I'll call it the Belgium terrain set, where everything was sort of printed super oversized. You had these colossal houses and forests and stuff. And I think 23 was our last year playing on that set. The Germans, I believe, used the Rheincon set that they'd been running at their premier tournament for a long time. And it was 2D with 3D toppers. And you guys have set yourself out like an additionally huge challenge. Like, okay, we're going to do a full terrain set, and it's not just going to come off, a laser cut printer. We're actually going to make all this from scratch and paint it up by hand. So one of the things I really encourage everyone in the audience who hasn't already to go ahead and check out your series, The Road to the WTC. One of the things I think is really cool about the organization here is you're an experienced and fluent event organizer, and I really love like the aspect of your process where I'm not going to be a one-man show. Like we're using a whole team to create this. And you're having like, the people you're working with on terrain and like your head judge, Seth, coming in and like doing little segments on that. So talk to me about the process of putting a team together to make it happen.
Yeah, actually that was the funny thing is in the beginning, my buddy Jamal and I said, surely we can paint 100 tables by ourselves. That shouldn't be too hard. I mean, we've done it. We've painted like 100 night goblins in an evening. It works. And then we realized we are both fathers, and he has 3 kids. I have 2. And then we forgot completely to factor in printing time.
Oh, yeah.
Because plastic printers are very slow.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long time. So the terrain you guys have seen for the Brine Blood Marauders tables with like the shipwrecks and everything, that's 4 months of one printer going 24/7.
Oh my God.
For that terrain. Bananas. And then you realize, wait a minute, if we do that for every table, we have 5 sets of tables. That's more than a year. So we can't do that. So we need more printers. So we had one printer going for all those tables, which were a couple of friends of mine. They have a printer, and they just said, yeah, sure, we can help out. They probably weren't expecting 4 months of 24/7 help.
Yeah.
But they were awesome. They don't even play the game, They
just wow.
Said, and then, so they did that. And then we have, of course, Johan, my local player. He's been the real star of the printing show. He's printed almost everything. And then I actually got a tiny little Bamboo Lab A1 printer, or A1 Mini, I think it's called, and it's been excellent. It's $200, and yeah, I've printed so much stuff on it. So that's worked really well. But then we needed, the painting. So I reached out, because before I organized the WTC, I reached out to the Swedish community and said, who wants to help? Because I can't do this myself, and I'm not going to apply to do it unless I know I can get help. And then everyone's like, sure, we'll help. Sure, we'll help. I'll help. And then once, everything was set, and I said, okay, who's going to help paint terrain? And you can just see the tumbleweed rolling by. It's like, guys, come on, you told me. Yeah. And then everyone's like, yeah, sure, we'll help. And then Oscar Seebeck, of course, with his gang in Värmland, they took upon themselves to print and paint 16 tables worth of terrain. And then actually just a few months ago, my friend Martin, who is on Sweden Team 2, reached out to me and said, I think we in Borås, which is a city a couple 2-3 hours from here, I think we can help paint some tables. So maybe 20 or something. And I said, okay, I'll give you 16. You get to do the Signar tables, and we'll see how it goes. And they knocked it out of the park. In like a couple of weeks, it was all done. And I thought, whoa, that means you can do another 16. You guys got the skills, you got the manpower, because they were 3 people painting. Yeah. And now they've actually almost finished them. I think they have like 8 houses left, because we forgot to print the chimneys. So I sent those up by post yesterday. Yeah, they've been amazing. And so Jamal is painting the beach terrain, because that's the most terrain. So much terrain. It's actually the stuff that you can see right behind me here. It's a bunch of the brine blood and then these things from Terrainiacs, which is the obstructions for the swamp tables. Right. We basically replaced houses with these because they were quicker to paint and put on the table. And the footprint, when you make it a full square, which it's what it will become, it's actually the same size as a house. So we thought, let's do that. It's quick, and then we can take the houses and move them to the city tables. Right. So that's also been a thing. Yeah, like realizing what we have, what we don't have, and then when we measure everything out, because me and Jamal were painting. He was here last weekend, and we were painting. We did a whole session, both of us, and did like terrain. They did like 120 something small pieces of terrain, and we realized, wait a minute, we've miscalculated. Because so the table we posted with the Brine Marauder terrain had like 2 sets of boats and then 2 sets of like watchtowers on it, and then a bunch of rubble. And then we realized we only have 1 watchtower per table, not 2. And we only have, we thought we had 32 ships. Turns out we had 32 halves of a ship. In other words, we had 16 ships. So then we realized, shit, we need to get some forests on this table to make up for it. Because forests are quick. So we basically ordered the trees, and we're gonna paint them up a little, just to get them good looking. Palm trees. So you can see some of them in the back here, getting ready. But that's also one of those things. Like when you take everything out in front of you, when you realize, wait a minute, I thought I had 80 clouds. Turns out I only have 60. Why did I think 80? Were those not done? Oh, right. That's when the printer broke down and we had to replace a piece. And then that didn't get done because we moved on to something else. And it's been a heck of a, So, yeah, it's been a real roller coaster. But now, I have 32 tables behind me that are completely done. And then we have another 16 in Värmland. And then we have another 16 in Falkenberg, where Jamal lives. And then the last 16 tables are... Oh no, they're in Borås, because they're painting them right now. So yeah, it's so we have 80 tables done, and then we have 5 stream tables, which will be the official SFG terrain mostly. Some things did not manage to print without too many failures, so we had to replace them because time didn't let us fix the file as much as replace it. Right. But mostly SFG terrain, and it'll be on official SFG gaming mats. Nice. Which I'm not allowed to show off yet.
Right, they're still top secret. Yeah. I want to buy some, but I know they're not available.
Yeah, they're and I talked to them. It's like, can I post now? Can I show off the awesome terrain on your gaming mat? They're like, dude, they're not even in production yet. Properly. They're not even for sale yet. Not even up for pre-orders. I know you can't show them, but you can talk about them and show them at the WTC.
Mm-hmm,
so and also the terrain, since that terrain will be completely different, all the stream tables will remain top secret, so people will not get a terrain pack or pictures of the terrain for the stream tables. So
gotcha.
they will be the surprise,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which I'm actually looking forward to. So
one of the things you mentioned, you guys made the conscious decision to do 2.5D terrain, which Terrainiacs and Bulldozer and SFG have made a lot easier. One of the criticisms that's been leveled against War Machine events, particularly competitive War Machine events, is that they do skew much more toward like play functionality with the 2D terrain. War Machine, accepting the WTC and other high prestige events, doesn't have a painting requirement. It has a reputation of not really appealing to the eye, or if you're at a convention, necessarily grabbing passersby's attention. With the 2.5D, it seems like a fair amount of work more at the event organizer's side. But how, like, are you optimistic that this is going to launch sort of an aesthetic renaissance in War Machine and make the game much more attractive to newcomers? And how much was that part of your mission?
that's actually been part of my mission for quite a while. I did when me and Renaud started Euro Machine back in 2022. I mean, yeah, even just looking at that, we were the only podcast coming out of Europe, and we were like one of 3 globally or something that were releasing content regularly.
Right.
So the War Machine was really on the down low back then. And I remember, I think it's like the 4th episode or something, I invite Tom Wiggins on the episode. So we talk about terrain, 3D terrain, bulldozer terrain. And my biggest thing is that when you're at a convention, like especially like you guys in America that have these huge conventions where Warhammer is the large part.
Right.
And if you go back 10 years when I started and you looked into the War Machine room, it was all mousepad gaming mats with mousepad terrain and unpainted models, which made people, I mean, they didn't even get in the door. They popped their head in and said, nah, that's nothing. And they moved on. And then they looked into the 40K room, which was all huge buildings and everything was awesome. And the models were huge and they were painted. Everything was gorgeous.
Right.
No wonder they went and bought a Warhammer box instead of a War Machine box, So to me, that was sad, because this game, it has gorgeous models and it has a potential to be gorgeous looking. So, right. But of course, I mean, from an organizational standpoint, I basically had one of these. Yeah. I had one of these boxes. This was the terrain for 32 tables in one of these boxes. I mean, from an organizational standpoint, this is unbeatable. It's so easy to organize a tournament,
Right.
But this is for people who are already in love with the game.
Right. Yeah. For the people who want a very, very chess-like experience.
Exactly. And I know, I mean, we have some players here. We have a local, of course, Anton, who does all the war table leagues. He's all in favor of the 2D, everything. Just make it exact as possible. And he loves that. And I can see why people feel that way. And now, it's just like, yeah, that doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just one piece of terrain. It's so my mission was sort of to get exactly what the real Shano is saying here. The huge part that when people walk by at an event, they need to go, whoa, what is this? It looks awesome. And that's what we've gotten, especially with the city table we have with the bulldozer cranes, the huge ones, And people have been looking at that thinking, wow, it looks so cool. What is this game, And that's what I want. When someone stops and looks that's when I feel I've succeeded. If someone just passes by and think, oh, well, I've seen it before. Oh, look over there, Warhammer, Star Wars, or whatever it is, Middle Earth. It looks cool. So that's sort of been my mission from the start. And I hope, the funny thing is that, as I said, 10 years ago, Warhammer was the epic terrain. War Machine was the flat. And now you go to a convention and you see tables like ours, or like the German tables, with a 3D terrain. I've seen some of the narrative tables and stuff that Triton True have made. I mean, the tables, they were gorgeous looking, even the non-narrative ones, from what I've seen. So people are now looking like, these are so cool looking. And then they go to 40K and they're like, why is everything just cartons standing in L shapes?
Right, yeah.
So something has happened, even if they're not two-dimensional, in the flat sense, they're sort of two-dimensional in the, vertical version. And
right. Yeah, we've gone.
It sort of feels like we've had a switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Because exactly what you said, when my 40K friends, when I started in War Machine, they were like, "How can you play that game? It looks so boring. It's just flat. There's no terrain." And now it's like, what's happened here? you know.
Well, the advent of the 2.5D and 3D print, one of the great things, which I've talked with John a lot, I think mostly offline, because he was a real pioneer for the 2D, especially as the game was moving into more and more precision in late Mark II. But that had very high capital cost. Like it just if you talk to him about, procuring printers and what it took to launch that business, it was crazy. With 3D printing, like you picked up a $200 bamboo and, you can run off pieces at home. It's just such a massive difference. And the at least on the West Coast, most of our events have switched over to Terraniac pieces as well. So the houses, those little wall segments you were showing off, the tall grass, the craters, there is some impact. Like sometimes it's a little hard to stand on the lip of a crater or to like put an objective in a certain spot near an open grave. But I've actually found, just for play experience, that it's really minimally disruptive, a lot less than somebody would normally expect, but it massively increases the curb appeal of the game. Like I was at Las Vegas Open a couple of weeks ago, and in the past it was very much flat War Machine. And exactly like you described, people sort of poke their head in and then pass by. And we got dozens and dozens and dozens of people coming by over the weekend like, oh my gosh, this is War Machine. This looks so cool. Like, oh, I have like a Retribution army, maybe I'll bust that out again. And the terrain really, really helped to make it pop again.
Yeah. And because the first things people see when they enter a room is the terrain, right?
Yeah.
It's the first thing that draws their eyes, even if it's the same. Like gaming mats are gorgeous looking, but to me, it's even nicer to have like a sanded table, like purely aesthetically. Right, but I will never go back to that because that's too much work and not a lot of profit. That there's how do you say, the work is not worth the effort is not worth the result.
As somebody who's made a lot of sanded tables in the past, they are a pain in the butt.
They're a pain. They're a pain to make. They're a pain to paint, and they're a pain to store. Gaming mats win every day. And it's just that I think that the important thing is that we draw people in, and that's also I've been a huge advocate for painting requirements for tournaments. And I've always said that, maybe, I mean, in the beginning I was kind of hardcore on it because that was sort of where I come from. In our gaming club, we even had people in our gaming club that were like, not painting your models should be considered unsportsmanlike conduct because you're taking away from the experience of your opponent. And I was thinking, yeah, sure, yeah, that makes sense. And then eventually we got into this world, and then you realized, yeah, I'm also an adult. I can be more pragmatic nowadays. I can be more, let's discuss it and see if we can land some middle ground.
I've always been a big advocate of what I've called finished game piece standard.
What is
you
that?
know, so it's almost like an intermediary between no painting requirements and full painting requirements.
Yeah.
You know, for the people, you know, maybe with a big passel of kids who you know don't even have time to paint. But you know, one of the biggest advantages of painting versus, like, if you've looked at primed or unpainted models, one of the most important things for the play of the game is actually being able to distinguish the visual profile of the model, because
Yeah.
like your brain, you know, really focuses in on that, like profiles and recognizing things by shape. When they're unpainted or they're just prime black, models are actually really hard to identify. So if you're going for something more like a nice, like, you know, chess set or something like that, you know, like I've got my Storm Legion army. It's, you know, like dark blue with like a wash or something, so the models pop, and then like maybe some models are, you know, coated into different colors, but like enough visual information that your brain can actually parse the pieces as you play.
I
You
think
know, it's
I
maybe a
agree. I
little
think
lax, but you know, for me as a game forward kind of guy, you know, that's where I try and strike a compromise.
yeah, I think that's good. And I mean, for the last few years, I talked to Mario a lot about this in Canada as well,
Mm-hmm.
because we've been sort of on opposite side of the spectrum, but have a very good relationship. So we talk a lot, and I know that nowadays I feel like if you're doing like a local tournament, maybe, or like a smaller stuff, maybe you shouldn't have painting requirements. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's better to let people paint in their time. As you said, many of us are just getting older. It's harder to get new people in, and if you stress them with painting, like you have to finish this or you can't play, that yeah, that's probably not the way to go about it. Um, and I mean, I also have painted. I mean, for the past few years, I've played a lot of unpainted armies at events because I just don't have the time
Right. Yeah.
to finish them. But then I've always felt like I really like that what SFG said, that it, like if it's at a convention, a huge event or something, like
Right.
Adepticon, for example, I know always has fully painted requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can see it more because then you're not just at a tournament, you're sort of also an advocate for the game,
Right. Right.
because people
Yeah.
are also moving around, as we said about the terrain and everything else. The army needs to, but as you said, maybe it doesn't. I mean, you don't have to paint every little thing, every little detail, but it needs to be something. It needs to, if it's, as you said, Storm Legion army. Well, clearly it's a blue army. It's shaded. You can tell what it is. You don't have to highlight every little nose, paint every little eye. No. You don't have to do that. And to me, it's always been like, if I see progress, that makes me happy. Last time we played, you had one less model that was, or one more model that was painted. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. You know, things are moving forward, and I really like that. But now I mean, now I'm just an adult and I work as a teacher, and I just think you do you, you know,
Mm-hmm. Right.
do what you got to do. I do like that the WTC has painted requirements because I know it actually gets people to paint.
Right. Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really like stresses
WTC and the
people out.
Invitational like forces me to paint when I
Yeah.
wouldn't otherwise.
Exactly. And I sort of like that we have like one or two events a year that's really hardcore. And
Mm-hmm.
then the rest can be a little more chillaxed, you know?
Yeah. Well, I really like the distinguishing line you draw, you know, because the WTC and something like the Iron Gauntlet Invitational here in the States, these are very prestigious events, and not just prestigious for the tournament and for winning or, you know, what you had to do to get there, but prestigious because you're really representing the game to the entire community and to the entire community of nerds in general. You know,
Yeah,
like
especially true with the live streaming nowadays.
right, exactly. Oh, and having visually identifiable models is so crucial on live streams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, I used to be much more adamant on the no painting requirements when I was younger and like a little bit more hardcore, but you know, like now I really, especially because Mark III was a period where, you know, it was a great time to be a competitor, but the game was not healthy, and overall it was very hard to find new people. In Mark IV, we've really shifted much more into like the largest demographics I see are returning Mark II players and new players in, you know, whatever meta I go to. And it's really important that this game is, you know, attractive for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that Mark IV has been such a, such a pulse of new energy for the game, and it's been a fantastic journey. I think Steamforged are completely knocking it out of the park with like everything they're doing. And I really like that they just said that like they're postponing, for example, Kithgard now on the timeline to was it February or even March, just like far
Something
away,
like that,
because they need to fix everything that they have, and I really like that. I appreciate that. I'd rather things come later and come correctly than you know, don't stress it out. Just take it easy, and I really like that they're doing that, and I love what that. I mean, now, for example, in at the Welsh Masters, we have like Jamie Perkins and Rich Loxham, and they're both there, and they're both like going 4-1 or was it 5-1 or 4-2. They're both really competitive and good players, and that makes me feel super, how do you say, at peace with the people running this game, because I know they know what they're talking about, and that's I really love that. And when it comes to the painting part, I know that they're also big advocates for that, especially when it comes to like the Iron Gauntlet qualifiers and such.
Right. Yeah.
But also that there's no need for it at your local events. Do what you want to do. I do love, Alex, that you're coming from the opposite direction, like no pinning requirements, and then I come from the full pinning requirements, and then we both like, we both became adults and then just decided to merge. It works.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a great thing about getting older is like, you know, you just pick up wisdom in your time with things, and you know, like actually, so that's something. Just shifting back to the WTC and you know, being a longtime event organizer, what is something with like organizing an event of this scale that you weren't expecting that you had to adapt to that maybe previous experience hadn't prepared you for?
Yeah, that's good. That has to be the hotel thing,
Because
that was new to me, and getting all the hotels, the bookings in order, and people staying in this room with this person, and they want to stay an extra night, and then someone wants to stay from Wednesday to Monday, and then someone want to go Friday to Sunday, and then some teams want to do that, but not the whole team, and this one wants to, but this one is bringing their wife, and this one is bringing a friend, and then you're doing this for 160 players or maybe 180 players, and to me that's been like the most new thing. And it's just been and I actually talked to the hotel, and I was like, if I do this again, because I'm actually very excited already to do this again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because next time all the terrain is done.
Right. Yeah.
Next time I just throw it out there and we're done. You know, maybe I make 5 more stream tables, and then I have a whole year to paint 5 tables instead of 100.
Yeah. And also like all the Sweden meta games and like local tournaments in your area are going to be like full kit gorgeous.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're sharing the terrain all over the place. But it's I sort of want to do it again, but then I also talked to the hotel, because we've gotten real friendly. The guy there who's doing the bookings and because we've talked a lot the past 1.5 years, and I was like, next time if I do this and come here, could I just let everyone book through you guys? Like I just give your information, and then every team can call you and like do the bookings and everything. He's like, yeah, and that would actually be a lot easier for us too. And I was thinking, damn it, why didn't I think of this before? Just incorporate the hotel completely from the start, instead of me doing everything and then giving the hotel a full package. And so I might do that next time to just as a relief for myself. I think that's been the most stressful part. That's also why I'm why I'm so scared what if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
You know, stage fright is full.
we got Brad Park in the chat, who's a hospitality hotels and casinos guy. Yeah, he's saying just have him make a booking link. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Oh, Brad, he's such a sweetheart.
Oh yeah, I'm so thrilled Brad is back in the game, by the way, and he's coming this year.
He sure is. He was writing to me. Because I had just gone off to bed. It was like because I'm in my garage right now. This is where the magic happens. And I went in to go to bed. It was like 2 a.m. or something, and we were gonna post the lists for the WTC. And he's writing to me. He's like, "Are you gonna post? Are you gonna post? They should be live now, right? Should be live now." And we're just sitting there talking, and I'm like, "Dude, yeah, but someone hasn't sent them in." And then he's like, "Who? Who should I hunt?" Because he's like, I don't want to go to bed. And then I went to bed, and then it turned out I woke up in the morning. No, sorry, this was actually in the morning. I just woken up after being in the garage. So he was going to go to bed, but he didn't want to go to bed. He wanted to see the lists first. And it was such a good, fun talk, because I was writing to him. It's like, yeah, I need you to hunt the Netherlands down. They have one list, and then it turns out that person had dropped, so there was no list, Oh, and eventually, man. I get this message from Brad, screw it, I'm going to bed. And then 15 minutes later, I said, lists are up. And he's just, dang it, all right, getting out of bed.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so I want to ask, about timelines, because you mentioned earlier, like, I'm not going to put my hat in the ring unless I know I have a team behind me. So yeah. It was a 1.5 year process from you knew you were ready to pull the trigger and put in a bid to when the event is going to kick off here in 2 weeks. What was a prep cycle like for you to find out, like, okay, I got to know the venue. I got to know, that we can do it. What did that look like before you even submitted the application?
Yeah, I think that first off, I checked with my friend Jamal, who is also playing in the team 2 this year. I talked to him, and I said, if the shit hits the fan, can you paint 100 tables? And he said, yes, I can do that. And I trust him to do that, because he's also the only person I know with the focus to paint things that are super boring, but just going through it. So I thought, okay, then I have him in my corner. Now I need to check with the community, the Swedish community. Can we do this? I contacted Gil in Denmark, who was the organizer of 2023, and said, can I buy your mats and your 2D terrain, which is the Belgian terrain that we've talked about? And he said, yeah, you can buy it. I don't play War Machine anymore. He's all MCP. So I can buy it from him. Okay, so I can get the mats. I can get the 2D terrain, which is the footprints that are huge, as you said. We've actually cutting them down. We're cutting them all down one by one with scissors, by the way. And but many of them don't have to be cut down. Some of them are very usable as they are. But and then I went to the Swedish community, and people were just, yeah, I'm psyched about it. So I thought, okay, then I'll check. I have a venue next to my work. I can just walk over and check it out. So I did that and talked to them, and they were super excited. And then I thought, when would I do this? Because I know the Germans moved it forward. They had it in August. It's usually somewhere in October, like start of October or something, right? And
that was a weird thing about last year, is like how aggressive the prep cycles for the team needed to be to go for mid-August.
Yeah, this is a big difference. Those 2 months make a lot of difference. And since I was thinking that, okay, I'm a teacher, so I have holidays. So I was thinking I need to put this event close to a holiday or over a holiday so that I know that I can be off work. So basically this, and then I thought I'll put it at the end of October. But then I realized Halloween is a big deal in the US. So I thought maybe I shouldn't put the WTC Halloween weekend. So, but that was the week after my holiday. So the week of 24th of October, or how do you say 27th of October, that week I'm off work. So I thought then I have a full-time 5 days to prep for the last minute stuff. Right. But no, I moved it forward a week, thinking I don't want to crash it with the Halloween. So now it's the 24th of October instead, which basically is the day my vacation starts. But now I'm off work a few days early as well. I'm off the Thursday and Friday to set up everything.
Okay,
But
yeah, I was gonna say you'd have to, like, next weekend has got to be like run around with the truck, make sure everything's physically in one place.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's sort of how I decided as well. I need to put it on a holiday. I need to know my team is there. I need to know I got the option to get the mats and terrain,
Mm-hmm.
and then I need to know I have painters in my corner as well.
Right.
And I did. And then of course the Boros gang, who've now painted 32 tables, they really came in at the last minute. So they were the real heroes this year, you know. Because otherwise those 32 tables were on my table. So I was going to do them myself. So I'm very happy I didn't have to do that, because that led to me replanning everything, so that what I could do, because I always have stuff to do.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's sort of the most important. And then I mean, of course, I contacted Seth immediately. I gave him a call. No, I talked to him in Germany when it was official that Sweden was doing it. He asked, "Do you need a head judge? I'm a volunteer." And I said, "I'm actually going to check with Oscar Siebeck, because I know nobody who knows rules like him." And he thought about it. And then a couple months later, he was like, "No, I think I want to play. So I don't want to be a judge." And then I picked up my phone and called Seth, and he was like, "Whoa, calling from the other side of the pond. That's not every day, you know?" And I said, "Do you want to be head judge?" "Heck yeah, I do." So then we put together a team of judges, and we have now, we have an American, is it two Brits, is it two Americans? Yeah, I think so. I think it's two. I don't even recall. It's a Polish guy, two British guys, and two Americans, I think.
Okay.
No, yeah. Sorry. One American and one Swede. We have a Swedish player, of course. We have David. He's joined the judges team. Sorry, David, for forgetting you.
Yeah. But for 32 teams, 5 judges is not a bad place to be. I mean,
no, the venue is
still. It can still be a lot of work, but like, that's a good, healthy ratio.
Yeah, and since the venue is sort of split up into 2 large halls, and there will be tables outside of these halls as well, but hopefully we can claim most of it to these halls. So the goal is sort of to have 2 judges in each hall, and then 1 moving between, because then they will also pass the Solo Masters tournament. Right. Which is in between, and they will also pass the bar, you know, if they want to go there. But sort of that's sort of the idea. 5 judges, 2 in each room, and 1 moving around. So that's the goal.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that sounds like I mean, your first WTC was in Blankenberg. You know, I'm sure you remember, like, there's like something like 5 or 6 rooms that the WTC was spread across there, and that I know was a real challenge for judging staff to keep up with. But you know,
they had
2 rooms, 2 judges. Yeah. So talk to us about the venue and about Ronneby, because I know Ronneby is a small town, and you know, 160 players, maybe like 250 people coming in. We're talking about like increasing the population of this town for a weekend by 1 or 2%.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a lot. So it's a very small town, and this part of Sweden called Blekinge is like one of the smallest regions in the nation, and there are 5 different municipalities in this part of Sweden, this region. And Ronneby is one of them. And the only reason we ended up there was because I was actually looking at convention halls throughout the south of Sweden. And sure, Malmö, of course, being a huge city, or huge by Swedish measures, like 300,000 people. But it's also a lot more expensive in Malmö.
Right.
And I thought, we had just been in Copenhagen, you know, it's just 15 minutes away. Sort of feels like we're in the same place. So I really want to do it, and I want to do it closer to home from my own perspective.
Right. If for no other reason than to save yourself a lot of logistics headaches.
Yeah, I don't want to drive for 3 hours to get to the venue. It's like, that's not what I want to do. So I decided that I needed to find something closer, and then I knew that this was a huge place. It's a very popular spa. It's a very popular hotel. It's a very popular convention halls, convention center, and yeah. So we ended up there simply because I worked next to it, and they had the space. But they did. I mean, I checked out, and they have the space for 32 teams. But I'm also a little like, if we're moving to 64 teams in the future again, as we used to have, maybe this will not work. Then we sort of need to use the hotel part as well, not just the convention halls. Basically remaking all the restaurants into gaming. But we'll have to see if it ever comes to that. But yeah, that was sort of the idea. I wanted it close to home. I wanted it close to work. Because then I've been there so many times, just, hey, I'm on my way home from work, I'll just walk past and talk to them, get some measuring in, get some filming in. And of course, this year, another big deal was, of course, the live streaming.
Tell us about the team you got for that.
Yeah, because I didn't really know what to do there, because I actually contacted a professional live stream team that has done a lot of live streaming. They're very popular in this region. And then I forgot to tell them like what my budget was. So they sent me an offer based on, because I sent them pictures of everything in Germany and the rig and everything and the stream, how it looked and everything. And they said, yeah, that'll be like 20,000 euros. And I thought, yeah, I probably should have told you my budget beforehand. So that's not happening. And then I realized, what do I do? Of course, the German guy, he was a live streamer. From what I gather, he sort of did that as a service, as a favor, because he was a War Machine player and this was his job. But I talked to the Germans as well, and said if they would have paid proper money for it, would have been the same, like 20,000 euros, which is insane. So I contacted the best live streamer on YouTube right now, which is Moment of Clarity, Piotr. Because I've been following him for a few years. We met across several tournaments since 2019, and the quality of his battle reports were fine. And then I looked at them now, like after RheinCon when he was there, and I was thinking, oh wow, he has upped his game seriously. This is like top notch. I've never seen battle reports that are this well done. So I decided that I need to talk to him and see what if he wants to do this. And he was like, oh, heck yes, I want to do it. He loves it. So yeah, and he's been Piotr. Oh my God, he's been a godsend. He's been, because he speaks technology, which I don't. I don't do that. So I have my very good friend Johannes, who does not play the game, but he has worked on DreamHack before.
I see.
With the stage program and the live stream program and everything. So he's also like educated within like audio media stuff. So I contacted him immediately. I rang him up and said, and this was way before I contacted Piotr, because I just needed someone to talk to about all this that understands. And we looked at so many bat rips together. And even though he doesn't even play the game, he's like, yeah, you can do this and this. Look at the camera angle here. You can add this thing here. And I was thinking, yeah, sounds great. We just need to find someone who can do it. So I decided to bring Johannes in. So basically, he's getting in, and he's the tech whiz. So he's basically the wizard who comes in and just makes sure technology works. Because he's sort of a magician in that sense. When technology doesn't work, it's the worst thing in the world. There are two things that make you pissed more than anything, is when cars don't start and when computers don't work. You can add printers to the computer as well. And he just makes it work, He can talk to cars, he can talk to printers, he can talk to computers and cameras. So I invited him, and then I thought, this is awesome. He needs to come. Which I'm so happy I did, because we have a stream team chat on Messenger, and Piotr is writing all this stuff. I've got this and this, and then he just writes like letter combination with numbers mixed in, and I'm sitting there thinking, dude, I don't speak Polish or whatever it is you're writing. And then Johannes comes in, answering him with more number combinations with, letters and stuff. And I think, I've used this and this at DreamHack and la 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 la. And I'm like, I'm so happy you guys have each other.
Right. You wouldn't want to have to be the go-between for this.
And then you have me and Dan Jones from the UK. He's coming over as a commentator. So he's just coming, hanging out and commentating live games. So, and he and I are sitting in that chat going, yeah, we don't understand it. And to me, it's just like, as long as it works, do what you got to do, I'll buy what you need to do this 5 times instead of 1, and then we'll get it sorted,
Right.
So that was basically it. Piotr was super psyched. He's been super psyched, and he is so excited about this. And I think they have a tournament now, actually, this weekend. I don't know if he's live streaming or playing in it, but he's been fantastic, and I'm so happy we have that little team. I'm very happy that Johannes came in, because then Piotr has someone to talk to that understands. And since Johannes also doesn't play the game, he won't get distracted by the other stuff.
Right. Yeah.
He'll be there for the technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of how that process went. Because, we did get an offer from another firm or another company, and they were like, it was so expensive, so we couldn't do it. And then I realized maybe we don't have live stream. And then I feel like, no, the Germans left me this big shoe. I need to fill it.
Right.
And then and then Piotr came in, like an angel.
Yeah. It's such a service to the community too, just re-highlighting that prestige aspect, like to really see, sort of the top of the game, or like, your friends going out and like swinging for the fences against the best the world has to offer. It's thrilling to be a participant with. And, something about, how this team came together to put the streaming offer together. Like there's been an undercurrent of the WTC really does become like a big community, people from all across the world, and like, we're pitching in for this thing because like we love this game and we have a great time together. Like, I remember my first WTC, I was a bit like nervous, didn't know what to expect, maybe a bit like, guarded or whatever. And then I think it was like, the night after the first day, because you have your 3 rounds, and then you settle down to dinner and like having drinks and socializing. And that's where it really clicked for me. Like the magic of this event, was like really getting to meet everybody and, dive into this, sort of great brotherhood that we have, in the game, and to get to do it with all new people from around the world. Talk to me. Was your first year going to WTC like that for you? And what is the WTC community mean for you?
Yeah. I think the WTC community has become a larger part of me now, the past 2 years than it was before. But in 2019, when I came, I was super nervous. I was happy to have my friend Alex with me, and that's not you, Alex. Sorry,
Sure,
that's another Alex, and because that was my local player, because we were 2 people from the same town, and we were, of course, as I said before, we've been sparring a lot, and we had a very good connection. And then my captain was Andreas Holm, who is a regular.
I love that guy.
He's one of the great Swedes, and everyone loves him because he's awesome. But he was the captain because we were on team 3, so this was like a first WTC kind of people letting us come to show what we got. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of how we think a lot with team 3 is usually the either you can call it beer and pretzels team, or you can call it the show us what you got team. Are you ready for the WTC? Because usually people get picked that have been showing their dedication, and you can see the results improving. They might not go like 4-1 at an event or something, but you can see that they were hungry and they won it. And that's, I remember talking to Olof about that, and he said sometimes it's more important to get someone who is hungry for the game than to get someone who feels like a little meh, and but usually does well. It's sort of because he feels like you want to get the new person in and show them what they can do here, and if they can do it, if we're also showing that player to themselves, like, can you do this? So team 3 was sort of us newcomers, and Andreas Holm was a very good captain to us, because he was very, take a list that you're comfortable with. That was the focus. It wasn't like, take this list because it's the best. Right. I mean, I played King of Nothing, which almost no one did. I think he was not very popular, but I had learned to play him, and I played him quite well, even before Clockatrices. So the Clockatrice just made it go, to 11. So, but and that was very nice that we had a team talk first time, and it felt very like, okay, I didn't feel as nervous now, but when I got there in Blankenberge, and it's just like, oh my God, these are so many people. And these are so many War Machine players, and as when you're new, it feels like everyone knows each other. And of course they don't, but it still feels that way, because it's like everyone's super friendly to everyone, and it's just, it was a little overwhelming. But I remember it was actually kind of funny then, because that was also the Brandon Owen story, because to me, I was looking for like vegan stuff, and then his girlfriend came along and said, oh, you can have this and this, and or she asked me, because I spoke Dutch, so I could speak to the chef and ask them. And then I met Brandon, and then I met some of the Americans, and then I also feel like, I think if I recall correctly, Brad Park was there as well, and that's also a name, It's like Brad Park. I've seen that somewhere. Oh, right. He's the one who taught me how to play Gators after winning everything with them. And then it's like, I mean, I know it's just one of those things that's just one name. And then you have the others, And of course, some of them have stopped playing now. But I mean, a lot of names popped up, and you're standing there like, he's like super good. I've heard of him. I've listened to his podcast, and, you feel, I don't know, you feel very small in a hall of giants. So I think it's very important also for the newcomers to the WTC. To me, they're the most important people at the WTC. Like bring them in, embrace them. They need to know that this is a community, and we all get along so great. I mean, I just picked up the phone the other day and called Corey Doyle. I've never spoken to him. Occasionally at the WTC, we talked for a bit, but not really a long conversation. And then the other day he was writing to me asking something about the WTC, and I was in the car thinking, I can't text you, I'm driving. I'll just give him a ring. And we talked for like 40 minutes about, heaven and earth. And it was just, that community thing is very, very heartwarming. And I think the WTC community, especially I think there's a big difference as well. The War Machine community is very, very lovable, very cozy, and because I have been in other miniatures communities as well, and it's not the same. This is more familiar, or like, how do you say familiar? More family feeling.
Yeah. Or if you get even more radical, like if you've been in like competitive Magic the Gathering environments, nothing like this.
Okay. I've never been that, but I've heard. Well, I've heard stories.
Well, one of the interesting things, and for somebody who's going to the WTC for the first time, it's very easy to have to have some anxiety, both about your play and about like meeting people and conversations and stuff.
I'm just laughing at your cat. Sorry.
Yeah. This one is Smudge. It's almost reminiscent of like when somebody's new to the game and they're going to their first tournament, like all the time I have new players who are anxious about like, oh, the stakes are going to be higher, and like, what about the competitive atmosphere? One of the things that really works about War Machine is we've had a long time to really focus in on, okay, we're gonna play good games. We're gonna make sure that these games are high quality and something that we're proud of, both in terms of our personal performance and what goes down. And we maintain that between each other. Like the game state is maintained in a relationship between the two players. And I think, as a group, we've done a really good job of embracing and leaning into that. And it shows up in how we mingle when the tournament's over or when we're between days, because there is this collegial atmosphere toward the game, and there's this collegial atmosphere toward one another when we're not around the table.
I agree, and it's just that I don't think I've ever had played a miniature game where it's been so much focus on, let's both get this correctly. Like in Sweden, we have this. I don't know, do we have these words in English as well? But like, you're not my. I'm not playing against you. I'm playing with you.
Yeah.
We're playing together, and the goal is that we both want the best one to win, or occasionally the most lucky one.
Right. You can't get away from that.
You can't get away from it. It's still a dice game, but I think that's a really important distinction. That we're not opponents in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're partners.
We're partners. We're doing this together, and I think that's also when talking to the judges, that's also a big deal. This game is built on trust, because the judge will not come to your table and tell you what you're doing wrong. You have to call them. Mm-hmm. They will not stand next to the table all the time like a referee in tennis, checking if everything is going correctly, or because they will show up and they'll tell you. And so, that's also one of the things. If you don't want their ruling, don't call them.
Right.
Because sometimes they will rule against you because you think you're in the right. But most of the time, most rulings are like, can this model see that model? Right. We have the laser out, but we're both a little iffy about it. So they just want someone to make a call. Also, for them not to feel uncomfortable with each other.
Right. Yeah.
Like nobody wants to gain an advantage and feel bad about it.
Right. Yeah. It's the judge is there to help the relationship between the players too.
Yeah, basically, they're there to help that, and it's that's a really beautiful way to put it. Yeah, because they just want to have a good time. We're also there to have a good time. That's also the most important thing. We're there to have fun, and we're there to win, of course. But I mean, cheating in this game, for example, is, in my opinion, very rare. I don't think I've heard a lot about it. I hear it in Warhammer all the time with like weighted dice and everything. It's like I've barely ever even heard close to something about that in this community, because this community really feels like I want to see if you are better than me. I want to see if I can beat you fair and square.
Right. Yeah. Because when you cheat, the first person you cheat is yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's just. And that doesn't really work. So I think that's a beautiful thing in this game.
Yeah.
Also to mention the comment, the real Shano. I don't know who that is. If there's
he's one of our Aussies tuning in.
Yeah. Who is it? Who am I? I don't know who it is. But I've talked to. That's also a very good thing he mentions here. The global connection point for the Aussies. I mean, I've never freaking met an Australian. Other than in War Machine,
Right.
It's all maybe occasionally one or two throughout my entire life, and now I talk to like 4, 5, 10 of them on a regular basis. Shane Germain. Now I recognize your name.
Yep. We got the kookaburras in the house.
Yeah, the kookaburras, and it's just super fun. And I've talked a lot about, I mean, of course, Gigantor is one of my regulars that I talk to. And of course, what's his face? Robin from Sixes to Win. Talk to him regularly. Sam Evans and I have talked since like 2019 regularly. So it's been really, really fun getting all that. Of course, Alex Glavas was here last year hanging out with all the Swedes. and then stealing their list ideas and winning the WTC, I might add. Super spy Alex, but the great thing, but he was really friendly about it, so we love him for it. But yeah, it was a great time, and it's just first time I've ever met an Australian who couldn't swim. That to me was insane. When you live in an island, big island, continent, but still island. But yeah, it's just been really a lot of fun there, because the Australians really get pulled in as well. So I kind of like that, and I love that they're coming this year, because we didn't expect them.
Mm-hmm.
And now they feel like the Spanish Inquisition. They just show up.
Mm-hmm.
And when the teams were released, and everyone's like, wait a minute, what are the Australians coming? No, they're not meant to be here. They're meant to give the rest of us a shot every other year. That's what they're doing. Because it feels like as soon as the Australians are there, we're all fighting for second place.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh man, that's the call to action for the rest of the world, is don't let the Aussies take it again.
Do not let them take it again. Robbins wrote to me and said, yeah, we're coming. We're bringing 3 teams. And then they did drop one. So the US got their 3rd team, which was very kind of them. But I think they lost like 1 player, and they were thinking of or maybe 2 players, and they were thinking of filling it out. And they said, nah, let's take 2 teams. And Robin said he wants to beat Sweden in the finals on their own home turf. And I thought to myself, oh, dude, that's I like your ambitions. And of course, when I told Olof about this, because he is the Swede to beat, he got super excited as well. He's like, oh yes, I would love to beat them in the finals. So, but we'll have to see, because there are many teams this year that are looking really good.
Yeah.
The American teams, I've heard many talk about, saying this year is like, instead of maybe previous years, it sort of felt like a top team and then like another team and another team. Now it feels like they're sending 3 teams that are all really competitive and strong,
right?
Which is kind of frightening.
Yeah. And it's funny. I also got to be on a show us what you got team, not only the first time I went, but also when I went in 2022, I was on Billy Nichols' team. So most of the team was greater Buffalo area. We had myself and Cody and Matt Zellis. Oh, I guess Matt Zellis is not Buffalo. Anyways, we had me plus a bunch of guys who were first timers. And what you said about being hungry really, really, really showed up for this team. We placed very, very highly, and it just showed up in like the prep cycle, the dedication, team spirit, all these things, and I think there was some nervousness at first, but as we started to play, these guys like started to feel like, their level of comfort, like, oh, I can do this, virtually everyone from that team has gone on to be like exceptional repeat WTC player and like, like really known and feared names in the community. Like I see Eric Akers is on USA Jackrabbits. If you could say anything, but because we also have first timers from the US and the WTC, like Erica from Tried and True was in the chat earlier. Is there any wisdom you could pass on to the first timers that would like take the edge off and really let them know, like, hey, you belong here, you got it. Play some games, make your country proud.
That's a good question. What's a good tip for a newcomer? I think that the most important thing is that you've been chosen for a reason, right? You're not there because you're actually a beginner, even though it's your beginner WTC.
Right. It feels like a first tournament still.
Yeah, and I love that comparison you had. The first time I went to a Mark II tournament, I was, all jittery and nervous, and I lost almost everything, and I learned a lot and stuff, and you get that feeling. And when you're a tournament regular and you're like a hardcore player, but when you enter the WTC, you still get that little feeling that like, ooh, this is my first time here. And I would actually tell you to trust your competent play experience that you have. Trust yourself. Do not doubt to make decisions because someone is watching your game, because that makes people really nervous. So I would also like to tell all experienced players, do not stand next to tables and look at them if there's a new player playing, because that will sometimes lead them to think that maybe I'm making a bad choice, and they'll start to question themselves because they know someone is looking, and oh no, that person is now biting their nail. What happened now? And what did I do? And all of a sudden thoughts go into your head. Don't do that. Just leave them alone, let them play, and talk to them afterwards, because most likely that'll make them play better. Because then they'll play by themselves. Because new players, you're there because you are competent. You know what you're doing. You know your shit. So just do it and take pride in that. Don't doubt yourself, because don't expect your opponent to be stronger than you. That's a big thing. If your opponent has been to 4 WTCs and they tell you about it, and you think, oh my God, you've been to 4 of these. Wow. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. That does not mean that they're better than you. Because the best players from, for example, I don't know, a random country might not be as good as the mediocre players of another country, because you never know, right, until you play them. So sure, the WTC is the best of the best, but if a country is bringing a single team and they sort of scraped it together, they're the only players in the nation, then they are the best players in the nation. But you don't know. And sometimes a team shows up, like a couple of years back, was it France that showed up with like 5 teams, and they all went super high, went really well. And then another round, another year, they came with like 3 teams, and they all did really poorly. So you never know. The country flag is also not a symbol of being a good player. So it's like, trust yourself and don't believe your opponent is better than you. And if you know they are, you go for that 30% assassination.
Right. Yeah. Play your ass off and take
your ass off and go for it. It's because the thing, like we talk about that a lot, because we have Olaf in our country, and of course a number of other players who are also very, very strong. And sometimes it's like, if I have a 35% assassination, that's actually better than if I keep playing, because when I was going into this game, I had a 0% chance of winning. Now I have a 35. Let's go for it.
Right.
And I hear a lot of good players talking about that. It's like, never give your opponent a 20-30%er, because you don't know if they'll go for it. And in 1 in 5, they'll make it.
Right.
And then you lose the game because you made a mistake, and you'll be like, oh, it was only a 20%er. Yeah. And they went for it. Especially look at the lists. Is that list an assassination list? Are they playing Shiris?
Right.
It's like, so yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Believe in yourself. Don't believe your opponent is better than you just because they've been there more times. And if you know they are, if you feel I'm going to lose this, go for the assassination.
Yeah. So that segues very nicely into talking about the meta game and what's being brought. I've said in the past, one of the things that's really different about the WTC in terms of list composition, while this is a very prestigious event, many of the armies you see here may not necessarily fly at a solo event. Because the team dynamic tends to produce more even matchups. I think the advice Andreas gave you guys in the first year is super solid, which is, have your primary list that you're most comfortable with, and then often you'll try and balance against the entire metagame, but in a team environment, you may not necessarily have to. And there's a lot of freedom to say, I know one year a USA team was like, okay, everybody in their off list is going to have a cloud wall, or, a much more reliable, essentially to victimize on table selection. Or another very common one is your second list should just be, built to assassinate, to get you out of a bad matchup that your team had to place you in and pick up a win you weren't expecting. So for looking at the metagame this year, knowing that team dynamics are a little bit different, have there been any surprises for you in what you're seeing brought?
I mean, I was actually super shocked to see Chimera being the most popular faction. I never would have even thunk it. I would have thought they would be like, maybe like Orgoth or or what's it called? Not Old Umbri, the
Winter
Orgoth,
Core, yeah.
Cephalix, Dark, Winter Core. I mean, it may be maybe 8 players or something, like the hardcore fans are playing Chimera. But I was surprised to see that they were dominating.
Right.
But so that shocked me a bit. But then I also realized that the trike plays a large part in this. Because as you said, in a team tournament, if you can get the trike into a matchup that cannot stop healing, then you're in a very good spot.
Right.
If they can't stop healing, or if they can't reach POW 25 and more,
right, exactly,
then you're in a pretty good spot. So and I know that some lists like Gravediggers and such can shoot a trike off the table, but you can dodge that in a team environment. So I think that the trike actually made this more common than maybe it is, but I'm not sure that's why, because I haven't actually looked how many Trichimerexes there are, if everyone is bringing one.
Oh, I did the math for that on the last stream we did.
All right.
Trikes have about 105% play rate, so every pair has at least one trike in one list. One guy has one in both lists.
All right. Yeah,
and
the
sense, trike. Yeah. The trike in both lists is actually pretty common, at least on the West Coast in America right now, but that's in solo events. And, I think another thing, you're exactly right to say that if you're leaning into the Trichimerics to win games, it's actually a not very big metagame slice that has an easy time into you. Most of them is hard. Yeah. And it means you can dodge the ones that counter you effectively with alacrity. The other thing that Chimera has is, if you're looking at like Nixian, Shiris, Kirax, these are all casters that are exceptionally good at assassination. They just have huge amounts of tools that enable it from downtown and really put your caster under a lot of pressure. So you've got 3 options that are just standout obvious as my off list is just going to kill you. Which I think, compounds to make them an incredibly strong showing this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's that's good to know. The track was in every list, and my thought was correct. But yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons, and I think the trike is also an awesome model, so I'm happy to see it.
It is gorgeous.
It is super. I thought it was so hideous the first time they posted a pic of it, like from that angle with the paint job. I just thought, oh, that is awful. And then someone just turned it around and photographed it from the side, and I thought, oh, that looks awesome. And then I saw someone painting it like in one color scheme instead of 3 different snakes, and that's when it really shined to me. That was like, wow. I need that thing. I want it. But yeah, I think that Chimera being the top was a surprise. And to be honest, only 6 Dark Operations players surprised me.
That was also surprising to me as well. I mean, they're the second most represented legacy faction, but like that is very small versus Dark Operations in years past.
Yeah, and since they're now widely available, I have an entire army lying on the table behind me.
Right, it's not $130 per monstrosity like it used to be.
I remember we were talking a couple of years ago, about scanning the monstrosity chassis to be able to like print them. And we were discussing doing it and scanning it, and like how much could we pay? And I thought, well, I have a buddy of mine who's good at scanning, and he can do it for like $300 if we just get enough people together, and we can just maybe print it. And then, but before we even considered it, SFG said, "Yeah, we're giving it to you for free. You know, or free, super cheap anyway." So that was great because they were almost impossible to get a hold of. I had like three of the plastic ones, and I gave them away to one of my students just a couple of days ago because he wanted to start playing War Machine. I was like, "Here's an army for you." Me and Yuan, we printed him an army because we said, "Well, you're 15, you know, it's expensive to buy an army. Here's some." And just to think that, like, if you go back a year, I would have given him like $500 worth of monstrosities, like three plastic ones. And now it's just take them. I have several. I can just make more. It's so I love War Machine 3D. So I think that's fantastic. But yeah, Dark Operations, I would have expected. Also, Iconoclasts are super good. So I would have expected. I really like them. So I would have expected to see more. I also think Thexus is super strong. But apparently people seem to be choosing Kaitos instead. I also think Siphon is. I won a tournament with Siphon this summer. I even beat Olof for my second time with Siphon. And that was like, so to me, it's like Siphon and 7 monstrosities is really hard to handle for a lot of armies. So, and in a team tournament, that list should be even stronger.
Right.
So I was surprised, actually. I think I probably, if I would have gone this year, I think I would have played the Dark Operations or maybe Shadow Flame just because I want to paint an army. But I would have played Lilith this year, and only one Dutch hero is doing that.
Yeah, I think Lilith is probably a little bit underrated. Maybe she could use some love in the next balance pass, but I think that caster has a surprising amount of game.
To be honest, I think so too. I played her at a tournament recently, and I went 3-1. That was my first time ever playing Shadow Flame, and I really enjoyed her. I thought she was great. And she also makes Shades stupidly strong.
Yeah.
Because Shades with like Deadeye on them with 4 dice to hit against characters. I was like, my first game I killed -4, top of 2, and then I basically I could ricochet and kill Kruger. And it's just and that was like, oh wow, I'm 20 points up, so I'll just clock over and see what you do, I guess. So to me that's like, oh wow, yeah. But that's also like her only trick. But the fact that you have a Chimera are so fun to play. I really enjoyed them. That you can swing armor by like 8 without even breaking a sweat.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I'll just either you do Silence of Death, and then you have Enrage, and then you have the beautiful Quick Fang Master who is throwing their rust grenades, and that's armor swing by 6, just like that. If you throw in Curse of Shadows, you got 8. So if someone is coming with like Gravediggers and the Vargas and is like, oh, here's my armor 26 Jack, yeah, I'll just pull that down to 18 and eat it. It's like, I think that's really cool and awesome to see. So it'll be fun to see what Lilith gets in January. I hope she gets, as you said, a little tweak maybe, but I don't think she gets a lot because her feet's also really good. And I think her feet, sort of like Texas feet, is very scenario strong. She's also the only range 14 control caster.
Oh, in all of Chimera? Oh my god, she is, isn't she?
I don't understand why Nixian is 12. She should really be 16. She's the spellslinger of the faction. She should be just like Kaitos and Texas. She should have 16.
Right.
And that's I'll die on that hill.
It seems only fair.
But yeah, so Dark Ops surprised me a little bit. And then what really surprised me, as always, of course, is Norway. Norway
always brings some spice.
They always bring the weirdest shit, and they do super well with it,
Yeah. No, yeah. They have 2/3 of the Army of Western Reaches players on the same team.
I laughed so hard when I was like, wait a minute, are they bringing what on the same team? But to be fair, that is their second team. So that's I think the other one with Sverre as the captain, that's the real one to worry about, because those are some super strong players.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Sverre, who is a real badass, who always plays very well. He often goes like 5-0 at WTC. And then of course, you have Jonas with Crucible Guard. He knows them inside and out, everything, every single little nook and cranny. He knows it. Nicolas Lohrmann is super strong always, but he has switched up. He's not playing Chimera now. He's playing Dark Operations, which is a nice change because I think that's also a very strong thing. If I recall correctly, he is bringing Texas. So,
that's a pulled up. I can check.
I think so, but I'm not sure.
There it is. He's got a Thexus Kythos pair.
Oh, spicy. But yeah, it's Norway. Kuba is there, and Kuba brings Menoth, and he always beats everyone with Menoth, regardless of edition or army. Apparently, it just doesn't matter.
Right.
So yeah, that's just. I mean, it's a really, really strong team, and of course Endre is there. He's bringing Gorton and Ostrom, the only rule guard player. It's just. And as you said, it's all about the experience, right? And if someone shows up to WTC this year, maybe for their first time, maybe have only played Mark IV or like end of Mark III, and all of a sudden someone drops Gorton.
Right.
And they're like, what the, who?
Yeah.
What does he do? And then you experience the Gorton feat for the first time and you realize I can't win this game.
Yeah. Yeah. He is an absolute terrorist with that feat.
Yeah, he really is. And especially when you think you know what he's doing, and then all of a sudden he feeds all your models forward into him instead of away from the scenario, and then he just eats you up. But he did make the mistake. He's not bringing 4 bashers.
Oh, God, the bashers are still so good.
They're so good, and I do love them with Reposition 3, the Field Marshal, that you can actually make a cloud wall. Yeah, because they can pop a cloud and move back behind it, and it's just I'm a really big fan of them. I've actually made an entire I remade all the studs on my rule guard into stars, so I'm making like a USA themed rule guard army. So they're being painted like red, white, and blue with all the stars. So very enjoyable. I hope to finish that sometime. But I think that's just one of those things. How many of you at the WTC will have practice played into like Osram with the Earthbreaker and Big Pig? Right. It's like, they're probably not coming to the WTC, and then you realize, okay, well, one of them is coming. Yeah, I still won't practice game into that. You'll probably practice play into Chimera, into Storm Legion, into Gravediggers, into Necrofactorium, and all these other armies that are clearly there, and there are many of them, and all of a sudden you're standing opposite Krios or Gorton, and you're standing there thinking, what? Okay, I'm happy I know what my army does, because I have no idea what your army does, and then you have to sit there reading the app while playing. Right. And either you'll clock out or make a mistake. And I think Norway can definitely capitalize on people not knowing their lists.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And just to highlight, this team has 4 legacy armies, 3 of which are quite rare to see in the metagame, like exceptionally rare. And then Sfera is bringing an Orgoth. He's the only new army. And he doesn't have Horus. It's a Sabrith Butcher pair.
Yes. I fucking love the Norwegians.
Well, and here's the thing, like this may sound like crazy, but this is a team that has won the WTC twice. So if they're doing this with a tremendous amount of experience and some serious plan behind it. Although watch like Jonas get drunk and be like, yeah, there was no plan. We all just played what we felt like. But like, it looks like a serious out of left field metagame threat.
Yes. And I do think that's also the thing. As you said, it could just be like, oh, let's go there and have fun and bring some weird shit and let people think that we're really good this year. But it could also be that they're bringing this stuff because they all know it really well. And it counters things in the game. I mean, for example, I mean, doesn't I mean, I don't know if Final Interdiction. I think is he bringing Kreos?
Oh, let me check. Norway. Final interdiction is. Oh, we have Sirenia. Yep, and Grand Exemplar Krios.
Yeah, and Kreos still has the auto hit feat, right?
Yep, absolutely. Auto hit, extra attack. Yeah.
Which, of course, in this meta of def skews, is super powerful.
Right. Yeah.
So, and also like the big pig with Ostrom, that's a big pig with snipe.
Right. Yeah.
And you can, and then you'll cycle the snipe to the Earthbreaker, and then you'll just go pew 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 with both of them. And I mean, these are things that, I mean, a big pig is not very popular this year, but with snipe still going strong.
Well, that was one of my takeaways for this year, because last year, Big Pig was clearly overtuned, and it was the year of Big Pig. We had 600 feet of Big Pig end to end or something like that. When people lined up all their pigs at the event.
Yeah, I think it was like 73% of the players brought a Big Pig. Yeah, something like that.
Well, so I think the balance point on Big Pig is not bad right now. He's still good with the things he's good with, but I think your observation at the top that this is the year of the Trichomerax, not necessarily in total total raw numbers, because there's only 18 players running them, but their metagame influence is pervasive. And as I was scrolling through a bunch of lists, particularly Dusk, there's a bunch of factions where I'm like, oh, that's a lot of Big Pig. That's more Big Pig than I would have expected this year. And then thinking about it, oh yeah, it's a trike counterpiece, because actually, the trike doesn't just pressure you on its defensive values, it pressures you on its threat range in addition to those defensive values. And Big Pig, if you can stack a solid damage buff that can land, like Moraine feeding to push through arcane negation, this is actually an excellent counterpiece. Or Big Pig with snipe can be outside of its range, essentially at all times, and do something like, a quarter to a third of its grid every time he goes.
Yeah. I think that what you're saying is that when that you see, even though there are only 18 lists that are bringing it, that you see the tech against these in a lot of other armies.
Right.
I was actually just taking a quick look how many Molgreths there are that have shown up.
I bet you it's a lot.
There are only 5 actually.
What? Really? Wow, yeah. That's wild.
I would have expected more, because that's also like a great counter to stop the healing, but also a quick look at just Israfil. I think is in 12 out of 16 players lists. So that's also a counter to the trike. Yeah. Sure, it's one of the best melee heavies for Dusk as well. It's a good piece, but I think the entropic aura has increased such immensely in value since the trike came along. And the fact that you also have blessed, so you can ignore Dragon's Blood if it's on it, for example.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but, you're essentially bypassing 4 points of armor with Israfel, which is a big deal.
Yeah, which is a really big deal. And the fact that you don't have to kill it. You just have to knock out an aspect.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you just have to maim it and force it to remove Israfel down an aspect.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's spirit or body.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think, or if you're playing Helith, even taking the mind out could be even more powerful, because then it can't hit shit. So it's just, I think that, I think the trike is really warping a lot. And I think that people who can shoot a lot are bringing their best guns for this beastie. Since it'll be visible almost everywhere.
Yeah.
There aren't that many obstructions at the WTC that can block Colossals. There's some of them, but not all of them.
Yeah, I think it's what the houses you guys have, but the cranes are not wide enough.
Yeah, the cranes really need to be. Then you really need to be at the right angle to be able to
Right,
dodge.
right.
But the houses, yeah, and one of the houses on the stream tables is one of the SFG's own houses. It's I think it's
Yeah.
the chapel from the old Umbri set, and I just printed it, and I was like, dude, this thing is like 7 by 7 inches. Sure, it's not a square; it's like a plus sign in shape, but it's still like this is big. It's
Yeah.
bigger than Steamroller says it should be, but we're gonna go with it because it's an official piece.
Yep.
But yeah, there are some those things can block line of sight to the also SFG's houses are huge.
Right. Yeah.
But even Terraniac houses can block a trike. I don't think they're quite high.
Yeah.
But if you look at the slimmer variant, the taller variant, it can't block it because it's not wide enough.
So this is maybe digressing into a bit of a technical question, but since you guys are doing 2.5D, and you have these obstructions, a question that always comes up every year is like, especially when we were in the age of flat terrain, and then like the hills questions before Germany last year.
Yeah.
Now that we're back to the terrain pieces having dimension, are line of sight rules going to be like volume to volume, blocks line of sight like it blocks line of sight, or is it going to be more abstract?
It's going to be more abstract. We'll definitely post in the document what it block
Okay.
line of sights to. Yes. I prefer it that way instead of every player measuring like all the houses at the beginning of the game. It's more like no, you'll know it'll be in the terrain pack if it blocks line of sight. We even have some obstructions on the live stream tables that block line of sight to all models except 80 mils and huge bases.
Interesting.
So basically, it's like kind of low obstructions, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. Like just 2.5 inches or whatever it is.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, it'll be that. So I prefer the abstract way instead of measuring like volume to volume. I just want everything simple, and I can say to everyone that right now there'll be no hills in Sweden.
No hills.
No hills. We're in southern Sweden. People lived here because they could farm because there were no hills. So at this WTC there will be no hills, mainly because I personally hate them rules wise. I think they're a nuisance to play with, and I don't want that. I want clean play, easy play. I'd rather streamline it and remove. I'd rather have an extra piece of rubble or something than an extra hill or even a hill. I hope that maybe hills one day become more playable, but as soon as I enter hills, talk hills, I talk to Oscar Siebeck, and then he gives me like 14 rules questions that are super complicated regarding hills, and then I just said no. Screw hills. I don't want them.
Right.
So yeah, not a fan of hills, but I know the German. We also had a huge discussion last year about the German hills, like how high should they be? What should they block line of sight to? And I just no, I don't even want to discuss it. Let's just remove them. It's not necessary for the game. It's not like when I play the game without hills, I feel something's missing. No, I've never felt that.
And even an extended observation, one of the things that often happens on tables, because you're trying to get a good mix of terrain pieces and types and stuff like that. We have a lot more terrain types than we used to in Mark II or Mark III, but you're looking at like shallow graves, tall grass, reintroduction of hills, dust devils, quicksand. And a remarkable thing that all of these terrain features have in common is none of them block line of sight. So, as an event organizer, you need to be very attentive to the mixture you're putting on a table, because if you just go, we'll have a bit of everything, your table very rapidly turns into a parking lot, and that actually has some very weird outsized impacts on the metagame and what's viable. I think one of the neat things you guys are doing with theming is that there is guaranteed variation in the mixture and types. I think when that started happening with the Belgium set, it was a great move. And I encourage all future organizers, never look back, keep doing theme tables. Because one, it's engaging. And two, it lets you manage, what can very rapidly turn into a game balance problem if you're just trying to put a bit of everything.
Yeah, I think that we have that's why I love the theme tables. But I really want picking tables to be a part of the game.
Yeah, to be
Um,
impactful.
yeah, definitely. Because I mean, the past couple of years, it feels like going first or picking three matchups has always been better.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in previous years, either you picked three matchups or you picked all tables, and that was the other way around. It was too strong to pick all tables.
Right.
Especially if, but depending on which casters you brought. But I remember we had my first WTC, we had Alexander on our team, and he played Chromac 1 with Bestial, the spell that stops all spells in his control. And he had like a 16-inch control range with the well. And we just looked at all the tables and said, we're choosing tables. He'll pick the one with the house in the middle of the table. And then Chromac will stand there and nobody can cast spells across like a 34-inch circle.
Right.
And that was that's a very strong ability to be able to pick tables, all of them. So we're doing the same as last year, but hopefully the tables will matter more. And because now we've themed them very much. So the city table, I think we have like, is it 6 or 7 obstructions or something? Like it's just obstruction city. And because it's a city, it's like you're inside a town.
Right.
And it'll be hard to navigate your huge bases in that place, unless of course you have like Ghost Walk and other crap. And that's sort of the intent, you know? So if you have a team where you're all playing huge bases, then you need to maybe be careful with tables. Or if you have just one person, but they're bringing like double huge bases in both lists, maybe you need to pick tables to make sure they don't end up there, for example. And then we have like another table with a bunch of clouds, burning earth, forests. So, and if I recall correctly, we don't have a single obstruction on that table, maybe one per table. Because if you have like Isle of Sight, that table is very open.
As a Shadow Tongue player, that table excites me.
I can imagine, yeah, all the Bird's Eye players go, woohoo, I want that one. But at the same time, it's like that's sort of the intent that this table is very different. And of course, if someone gets mashed into Shadow Tongue or Calder, they're not going to pick that table. They're going to go with the other one. But that's also going to, I mean, you as a Shadow Tongue player will say, I can take that matchup because I get to choose table, which means I can play on this table, for example. So I think that's one of the most important things to me, that the tables are very different.
Yeah.
I really like that. We also have of course, we have like 2 tables that are sort of standard. Like the Signar table has like 2 obstructions, 2 forests, maybe 3 forests, some rubble, you know, a little bit of everything. But I really want some tables to be like super weird to really enable table, just to be impactful, table choosing. So
right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things that makes the event of the WTC is you have all sorts of experiences playing the game during your normal competitive year, and at the WTC, when the terrain is really dialed in, you experience a lot of tactical and strategic situations that you wouldn't necessarily otherwise. I think of some of my most memorable games of just like interacting with the board. Like a WTC game is always memorable, but I think, I still think back to strategic situations I encountered in, 2017 or 2019, like really puzzling over them, because the matchmaking is part of the game. You do want boards to be more impactful to balance out selection. And that just results like in some really compelling games that make you think for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Emerald Dragon.
Yeah.
Hope we're obliging.
Nice. I agree. I think that most people, when they come to WTC, will end up at a table going, "Oh, what?" And I mean, I remember someone bringing like double galleons one year and ending up
Oh,
on the
sure.
city table, and
Yeah.
it's just. And then they asked the judge, even, these two houses are so close together, I can't even move through them with huge space. And they just said, yeah, that's how it is. You can't move through them. You have to go around. And it's just, wow, that's super bad.
Mhm.
Should not, okay. But even then, even if the houses are wide enough, it's like, yeah, you're still gonna have to squeeze through, and you can only do it in this angle. You know, it's not gonna happen.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, someone comes and put a rock wall there, and you're screwed. So it's, yeah, I think it's as you said, if you've been to a bunch of tournaments, and usually tournaments have like varied tables because they want all tables to feel kind of fun for everyone. But in a team tournament, you can really like skew it out. And I think, as you
Mhm.
said, people might experience new things for the first time, and also seeing things like, oh, you had like ghostly as a spell, you, or like someone said, I listened to a podcast today, someone said that they faced JVM, and they knew like, oh well, you're playing JVM, you're playing Chimera, so you know that you're taking Silence of Death, and you're taking Dragon's Blood or whatever. And
Mhm.
he's like, no, I'm taking Veil of Mists. And the opponent was, what? Nobody does that. Why would you? Oh, because the table is looking this way, so you can basically
Right.
make the entire table a loss block for your army, for
Yep.
example.
Mhm.
And I think that, yeah, it really, yeah, you're making the tables possible to do that, so to speak,
Yeah.
is great fun. And
Yeah.
it's so fun to see all the prep everyone is doing. It's so, I mean, you can really tell this year that people are super psyched to come.
Mhm.
And even though that gives me even more anxiety, what if I do something wrong? It also makes me super happy
Yeah.
that everyone has been so psyched about it. Also, great fun to see all the prep, and I'm super, how do you say, relieved that I'm not playing this year.
Right.
I'm looking forward to coming to WTC Saturday morning after I've set everything up on Friday, and just feeling like I can just say welcome and let's go.
Right.
Um,
Pressure's off. Worst I have to do is run around and like negotiate with the vendors or go and grab something that was like left in Stockholm or whatever.
exactly, something like that. So I'm really looking forward to that part of the event, because then my sort of Friday evening when everything starts is like, my work is done now. That doesn't mean I'm not doing anything this weekend, of course, but that means like the bulk of the work is done on Friday.
Mhm.
The entire 1.5 years of work is finished, and then I just need to handle situations as they arise,
Right.
which feels fine. So hopefully, I'm getting a game in on Friday evening
Oh,
against Seth
nice.
Cohen. Because Seth and I talked about it, and then without realizing it, I insulted him greatly by saying, well, when are we ever going to get a chance to play? Not realizing I was actually saying, you're never going to be good enough for a WTC team. We need to play here. And I was like, oh, I remember it was Steve Rabideau who mentioned it in a podcast. Did he realize that was an insult? And I was like, no, I did not realize that. But now when you say it,
It does sound bad in retrospect.
it does sound kind of bad. But I realized like I'm not going to be in the US the next couple of years playing at the Boca Brawl. And
Mhm.
he usually is a judge at the WTC.
Right.
So we were like, we need to test all the live stream equipment. So we're going to do like a head
Oh,
judge, head tournament
brilliant.
organizer, like battle. So we're doing that on Friday evening, hopefully. And Piotr is setting everything up, of course, to try everything out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be my game that weekend, unless of course people want to have like challenge me after the games are done, you know.
Sure.
But mostly people want to hang out and drink and chat and everything. So
That'll be a clash of the organizational titans, and I think I might even be awake for that in real time. So maybe we'll see if we get a restream going and just keep the hype as we head into WTC.
Oh yeah, I really hope so, and I hope people will be watching live and afterwards. So
Mm-hmm.
I just hope I don't make a mistake or cheat. You
Well,
never know.
you're playing against a judge, so he's got you covered.
Yeah, we were actually planning on doing that, calling a judge, and then have him showing up wearing a judge suit.
just have
But
like a fake pair of glasses and like the fake nose thing.
exactly, and just saying, I think Seth is in the right, but we'll
Oh
have to see
man.
how it goes.
Yeah.
And well, yeah. Speaking of drinking, then at the venue, you had
Yes, I did want to dispel this myth because I remember hearing this like when Sweden is announced at the end of Germany, and like it'll be in Ronneby, and it's going to be a dry event because the Swedish government subsidizes dry events. But it turns out this is not a BYOB bring your own beer WTC. Tell us about it.
yeah, I think that rumor got started because I posted a couple of years back when I was thinking about organizing WTC. This was before 2023 WTC then, because I was talking about it, and then I thought, what if? Because in Sweden you can subsidize a lot of events, huge events, especially if they're dry or alcohol free. Dry is a very American expression, I think, or English
It must
expression.
be, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, non-alcoholic events or dry events, and you can get money for that. And then I thought, what if I could get so much money that I can pay for the hotel for everyone and the venue and everything else? Basically, if I can get like, well, how do you say, like $100,000 together,
Right.
or 100,000 euros, sort of the same ish. Not really the money you would need, but maybe at least 50,000 could cover it. Maybe. What if that was possible? Would people come? So I started a poll in the War Machine community page, and this was before SFG took over. So this was a community run, and I just asked, would you go to a WTC if it was free of charge and also free of alcohol? And many people answered, of course, that especially Americans, Canadians, Australians, because they're traveling so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for them, this is also a vacation.
Right.
This isn't just a weekend tournament like for many others that are close by. So they were like, no, it's my vacation. I sort of want to do what I feel I want to do. If I want to have a beer, I can have a beer. I don't mind if I pay an extra 500 euros for the hotel and event, because that's fine. I'm still paying like 3 times that for the trip. Mm-hmm. But for other people who are coming like from Poland, they're just taking the ferry and then they're in Ronneby basically. So they're just getting off the ferry, driving 30 minutes, and they're there. So if they can get the whole event for free, they're basically just paying, the gasoline. Then on the other hand, Poles like to drink.
That they do.
So, but I was actually surprised by the resounding answer that 70%, roughly 70-30, said, yes, I would go. And then I started looking into, is this even possible to do? But then I also realized, no, it's probably not. It would require a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And then it was not possible. So I thought, no, let's just not do it. People are going to be super happy about it. And let's face it, the hotel is super happy. People are buying their alcohol.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee you, like, we ran a Belgian hotel out of beer one year. Like
that's a Belgian hotel as well. They're like
These places, these places will learn to love us from their bar staff.
Yes, and I remember I talked to Fredrik, who is my contact at Ronneby Brunn, which is the hotel, and we talked about it because he said they have the option to put a bar up at the venue, because the venue is like downhill from the hotel, so it's like a 100 meter, 200 meter walk, sort of like in Germany, but even closer.
Right, not 2,000 meters.
Yeah, not 2,000 meters more. You can see it from the hotel. It's just there. It is, so I talked to him and I was like, yeah, this is an event of drinkers. People like their alcohol. And so he was like, but should we have a bar at the venue as well? And I said, oh God, yes. If you want to make money, yes. You'll probably make more than what we pay for the venue in the first day, maybe even the first hour. So he was like, oh, is that? Yeah, but these are 200 people, and they're coming from very, alcohol heavy nations like the UK, for example, the Germany, Poland. These are nations that like to drink.
Well, yeah, and it's also that community thing we talked about, like, that community gets along very well with a bit of lubrication.
Exactly. Definitely. So he was very happy about it and then he asked me, that was so weird. He asked me, what kind of alcohol do you think we should have here? Mm-hmm. And not having drunk alcohol myself for the past 23 years, to me, it was like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Are there many different kinds? Like, I don't know. Is it like, do you want Pepsi and Coke, or what kind of different alcohols are we talking here? And then I just told him, bring everything, because you never know if someone wakes up 8 a.m. and wants a shot. Maybe they can have that. I do. There might be actually Swedish laws against that. You might have to wait
right,
11
or
12. Yeah. But
no, yeah, the Nordic countries will probably like, no, we know this is a problem when you only get so much sunlight. We do need to control this.
Exactly. Yeah, don't drink the strong stuff before breakfast, please. But yeah, so there will be alcohol at the event. It'll not be a dry event, and there'll be alcohol at the venue and at the hotel, 2 bars. So one where, and we'll eat dinner at the hotel, like on Saturday and Sunday, I think. Or maybe Friday as well. I'm not sure if it says at the venue or not. I need to check that this week. It might say at the venue in the player pack. I'm not sure if it'll be at the venue or it'll be at the hotel. Anyway, it'll be closed. But during the days, we'll have lunch at the venue. So you can basically, when you're done with your first or second game, whenever lunch is, you can just go get your lunch, and it'll be buffet for everyone. So that simplifies things. So you can just go get your food that way. Because I talked to them about it and said, well, you want the lunch to be able to, when people are done playing, they need to be able to go get their food. That way there's not a line in the same sense. So people, when they're done playing, go get your food, and then we just keep the rotation going. So lunch at the venue, dinner at the hotel is sort of what it looks like now, if I recall correctly. Mm-hmm. And registration opens on Friday at 5. So if you guys are there, all of you, please show up. Please register so we know that your team has arrived. Yeah. And hopefully I can show up on Thursday evening to say hi to everyone, because there's a bunch of people there already on Thursday, some even on Wednesday. So I hope to meet everyone there. So looking forward to that. But yeah, you can come, you can drink alcohol as much as you want. But if you act, that's also a Swedish thing, if you act poorly because you're drunk, you will be thrown out.
Right. we're really counting on decorum.
I used to work as a bouncer in a bar. So
right.
I will throw you out physically if you're too wasted.
All right, everyone, be on your best behavior. Ronneby is a small town. We don't want to make a bad impression.
Yes, we really want everyone to be happy. As you said, we're increasing the population of the city by a percentage or 2. So please be on your best behavior. So they also want us to come back.
Right, exactly. No, yeah, and I mean, just watching your process through the YouTube stuff, and I understand the YouTube taking a back seat to like, oh gosh, it's crunch time, got to get it done. This sounds like it's going to be an excellent event. I think there's a lot of wisdom in, what you've gone through as part of your process for future organizers. And I'm really sad I'm not going to be there this year, but I am, going to be cheering on from the sidelines, and everybody who is, or everybody who's going to be watching on stream, rooting for your home country, get hype. This is going to be a legendary year.
I really hope so. And feel free, if you really enjoy the stream, feel free to join the GoFundMe campaign. It's still up and running. If you want to chip in some help for the live stream, please do. It's every dollar helps make it even a better event. So that's also worth doing. But yeah, I hope that this event will definitely blow people out of the water and feel like this is where you want to be. You know, WTC and hopefully even in Sweden will be amazing. I hope. So, and as we said, Germany left some big shoes for us to fill. They gave us a lot of ideas as well. So
yeah, it sounds like it's getting better and better. Any last things to plug, Peter?
Yes, if you want to buy War Machine models, please do so at the WTC. We have a tiny local store here in my little town of Karlshamn, which is 30 minutes from the venue, and they've just put a large part of their yearly budget into buying War Machine to sell at WTC because I recommended them to, and because that's also where we play when we play our local games. We play at the store. And I know today I just posted on the Euro Machine podcast, Gmail. Sorry, that's my Gmail. The YouTube channel, the Euro Machine YouTube channel. I posted some short videos about we had 10 auxiliary boxes for Old Umbry come in. So, and I know a lot of people have not gotten those yet. And also they're getting I think 10 boxes next week of Frozen and Forgotten, which will be for sale at WTC.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So please, if you have ordered stuff from SFG, that's all good. But if you have not, please consider waiting for the WTC and buy it there, because I really want my local store to feel that they did a good choice here and not losing money from buying War Machine. They'll probably have the largest stock of War Machine in Europe after this, unless people buy it. So yeah, and even now I posted a video of what they've gotten. They have sort of everything, but you can check those out. And if you want to pre-book something, let them know. Did we post their detail in the?
Yep. There's a link to the page in the description on this video, and I'll go ahead after the stream and dig up the GoFundMe. I totally blanked on getting that in the description, but we'll have that posted as well for the community just to draw attention to it.
That's brilliant. And yeah, as you said, if you want to buy War Machine, please do it, because I really want my local store to feel like they made a good choice here, and I don't want to feel like I told them, oh, it's a good idea to sell War Machine at WTC, and then it turns out they sell one box.
If you're coming from Australia, or if you're coming from a place that has had distribution hardships, talk to your local meta and get their picks and bring it back for them.
That's an excellent thing. Yes, please do. Talk to your local players, because it's better. I mean, you can have it in your hands in 2 weeks. Which is fantastic compared to then, 8 weeks production time on the made to order stuff.
Right, exactly.
So I think there are also 10 boxes of Crix auxiliary expansions. So get those Night Terrors in people's hands. So please tell your mates, even if they're not coming, you can bring stuff back to them. So yeah, support my local store.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Once again, get hyped for WTC. This has been the Amusing Panda live stream. We'll see you on Tuesday as scheduled normally. And Peter, thanks so much for joining us. This has been a really great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me on. And I can't wait for the WTC and see you all. Sad you're not coming, Alex.
I know. I'm heartbroken too. It's the move out to Phoenix was just too expensive to make it happen this year, but next time for sure.
Well, next time move to Sweden.
There you go. Easy plan. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.